Hey, you crazy cats. That sounds like something out of a DJ from the 1970s. You cool kids, you cool kittens. Welcome to T and J Take Over the World, where we take over the world.
One episode at a time.
What she said. Our bid is to take over the airwaves and to come after a certain person's crown. I know, we are David to a Goliath, but we're going to try. We're a husband and wife duo from London, talking about all things entertainment, culture, zeitgeist. If people are talking about it, we're going to have an opinion on it. Oh yes, we're going to have an opinion because we're very opinionated, aren't we? Yep. Very opinionated. And guess what? You're going to be, if you don't like opinions, you're listening to the wrong show because you're going to be stuck with us for a good hour, putting the world to rights, aren't we?
Yeah, you're going to be stuck with some.
If we ruled the world, this is what we're going to be talking about. But this is going to be a fun one where rather than talking about pandemics and who's split up from who and all that jazz, we're going to be talking about some stuff we've watched on the telly, from galaxies far, far away to, you know, a trailer talking about the magic arts to a Super Bowl. And speaking of Super Bowl, one of the biggest artists in the world who had a bit of a mishap there, but you know what? She's far bigger than that blip in an otherwise stellar career. None other than a Jackson, Janet if you're nasty. So stay tuned. We've got a lot to get into. And we have lots to talk about today. What a show. I can't wait to get started on talking about some of the pop culture stuff that I live for. If you'll get to know me, innit? They'll get to know me. I live excited for Star Wars. So Wars number one, we've got Star Wars. You might recognise a little fella here or somewhere. Where is he? Can I see him?
I don't think.
Yep. Let me hold him up. This is the way. No, that's the Mandalorian. Well, the show's kinda. That more of that later. Is it Boba? Is it Din Djarin? Is it Boba or Din Djarin's show? Whose show is it anyway? But anyway, forget his show. We want to talk about our show, the book of T&J Take Over the World.
Ooh, that's a new
and
one.
we promise no one is going to oust us and outshine us on our own shore. On our own show, for sure. Sure. They always throw me. But I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Remember, you can subscribe to our podcast. We're brand new, so by the time we're speaking, there ain't many episodes, but there's many episodes to come. Because remember, this taking over the world bid is one episode at a time. So let's be it together. Choose to follow us so you'll be in our cabinet when we rule the world with popular opinions and our views and our thoughts and all that good stuff.
You're looking forward to ruling the world, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Looking forward to us ruling.
Put my feet up. None of this podcasting video malarkey. It's all a bit hard work, especially me. I'm the muscle.
I'm just trying to think what it's going to be like when we rule.
Well, in case anyone, thinks that we're serious, we're clowning around. Tell the person listening you're clowning around.
Yeah, we're just joking. We're in an entertainment podcast.
There's been enough seriousness over the last, was it 2 years now?
Yeah,
2 years of seriousness. With a word we will not dare utter on this podcast. We are here to bring joy and laughter to your life.
I hope we're doing a good job.
As well as invade and take over. How about that? We're happy-go-lucky tyrants wanting to take over the space. Our turf is the social media and the podcasting turf, isn't it?
Yeah.
We will come and we will fight for our stake in the ground. But enough of our plans of domination. We just want to entertain you and bring you our hot takes on some of the stuff that's going on in popular entertainment.
Exciting, T.
Are they ready, Jay?
Yes.
No, seriously, are they ready?
I think so.
Are they ready for this jelly?
I think so.
Because, we've been taking a long time in the kitchen preparing this jelly. And to be honest, to be perfectly frank, and to be perfectly honest, I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
How do you know?
I really don't. We've been staving away to prepare this jelly, and I don't think they're ready.
They might be. Give them the benefit of the doubt, they might be.
I don't think you're ready for this. See, if I have to spell it out just in case.
Don't think that too much.
Jelly? Is this a dessert show? The beehive will get it. Queen bee. Anyway, beehives and jelly aside that you're not ready for. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. We are looking forward to talking about the stuff that we love. So obviously I've already mentioned Star Wars, haven't I?
Yep.
Galaxy is Far, Far Away. And then there's a trailer that came out for the next big epic MCU movie. You enjoyed Spider-Man, didn't you?
Yeah, I enjoyed Spider-Man actually. I think it was one of my favourite ones.
Yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home was amazing. But the question is, what MCU movie would dare follow up this all-time great Spider-Man movie that is absolutely epic? Actually, I've got a Spider-Man story later. Remind me.
Oh, yeah, I will, man.
Yeah, remind me, because it is funny.
I will.
And on top of that, to polish it all off, the big topic of the week of our episode is, did you see that Janet Jackson documentary the other week? Oh, wow, that was good, wasn't it? That was a unveiling of the curtain behind one of the biggest artists of all time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the documentary that I didn't know about,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And
I'm sure you knew a bit more.
I'm a lifelong Jacksons fan, from
You're
the
the
Jackson 5, the Jacksons, Michael, Jermaine, Janet, their solo careers. So I have an encyclopedic knowledge of all things Jackson. And even I was stumped by some stuff. I guess you could say I'm the expert, Mark. See the Room reference there. The Room. I did not hit her. I did not.
Oh, my God.
Oh, hi, Mark. We're also Tommy Wiseau, the Room fans in here,
my goodness.
in case you didn't get that reference. And if you did, yay, you're one of us, one of our gang. So that's to come, the Janet Jackson documentary. There's lots to talk about. You don't want to miss this episode. And before then, a little bit of our entertainment catch up, because we don't need to leave the house anymore. They don't need to go to cinema. Exactly. You pop on Netflix or Disney Plus.
There's just so many ways.
And away you can go.
There's so much ways of watching movies nowadays.
Yeah.
You just don't need to go out your house.
So don't go anywhere. We're going to give you the rundown of some of our top entertainment things that have happened over the last couple of weeks or so. And we're going to start right now. So, Jay, let's talk about Spider-Man first. Yeah, let's set the scene. Did you see Spider-Man No Way Home?
What?
I'm asking. Well, did you?
That was the latest one.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah. I'm getting mixed with the other ones.
Have you seen it? Did you see the latest Spider-Man?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the latest. I love the latest Spider-Man. I watched it with you guys, didn't I?
I know. I was going to say.
You're there.
We went together as a family, so I'm just curious in case, because I'm thinking, was that somebody else I was snuggling up to in the cinema? It was dark. It was very dark in the cinema, so
it was me too.
it's possible, because I was all canoodling and stuff. I was like,
No.
I'm sure it was you. That would be awkward, wouldn't it? Come out cinema.
Oh, there's someone else.
Oh.
No,
It wasn't me.
I really.
It wasn't me.
No, I really enjoyed the latest Spider-Man. I loved it. I don't want to give it. I'm sure most people have seen Spider-Man.
Spoiler alert! Well, actually, that leads us to a funny story, because not everybody, believe it or not, has seen Spider-Man No Way Home, which is the biggest movie in cinemas right now. One of the biggest movies the biggest movie of 2021, which wasn't the best year for movies because of obviously the pandemic. It's up there in the top 10 as the all-time box office. So we're Londoners. You might have heard by our accent and our American friends, there black people in London? They're black today? Are they black? Are they black? I know there's no black folk in London. You sure you're not putting on some funny accent? You know what's funny? Quick divergence. Idris Elba. You might have heard of him. He's quite a popular guy. Quite well-known actor. And he first hit big in a show called The Wire. Yeah, The Wire. We didn't see much of it, but it was a huge, humongous show. And he was fantastic in it, the little I've seen, and it made him a big name. And he's an American. Is it String a Bell? He plays an American gangster, like criminal. And it made his name. He was huge in America. And then the BBC, funny, especially, I mean, I'm an actor, a bit on the bench at the moment, but to be black and British as an actor, the only way is really across the pond. You're going to go, ooh, get in a plane, woo, to America bound. It's like with your little polka dot bag on a stick. Here I go to America to have a career, because there's pretty much nothing here in the UK if you're a black actor. At least that's been the tradition. So a lot of our best talent emigrates to America and makes it on shows and become, have success. You think of David Oyelowo, you think of people I can't think of right now, but I'll get back to you. but certainly Idris Elba was one of them.
Yeah.
So the BBC recognised his talent and they gave him a headline show called Luther, where he played, not Luther Vandross,
I know.
Luther, where he played...
Not the singer.
Yeah, Luther Vandross. Give me the reason to love you, baby. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Royalties. Yeah. We don't want people. No. Not someone's knocking at the door.
We only just started the show.
Yeah. Check. Yeah, so not Luther Vandross biopic, but Luther, based where he's like basically a detective, a Londoner, Cockney, Cockney London detective. And of course, I remember going on the internet, on entertainment sites and forums, and people were saying, you know that Idris Elba, or that Idris Elba, I loved him in The Wire. His English accent sucks. Yeah, he's rubbish. That English accent's so bad, man. Who does he think he is, trying to be like some kind of Cockney? That English accent sucks, man. Yeah, sucks. Anyway, that American accent wasn't much better. But anyway, and we laughed to ourselves because the reality is that's his actual accent. He's a Londoner. It weren't like Don Cheadle. Like, hello, Mary Poppins. All right, mate.
Gosh, that's so
you know, in these Ocean's 11 movies, he's got that really kind of, hello, Mary Poppins. You know, like Dick Van Dyke in the Mary Poppins movie, where it was just such a fake English accent that you cringe, and it was like, hello, I'm British. And I'm like, has he ever been to England? You haven't been to London, Dan? Hey, Dan, ever been to London? But anyway, I digress. So the moral of the story is that I think when people know something people have bias, don't they? So because it's actually a compliment, because Idris Elba was so good in The Wire as an American, playing American, that they just assumed that he was an American. So when my guy does a British accent, no one really could tell that... Sorry, when you did a British accent, people thought that it was fake because his American one was so good. He's British, people. He's a Londoner. He's a proper Cockney geezer Londoner. Honest. So his American accent was so amazing that they just assumed that he put on a fake, dodgy English accent. And of course, most Americans don't know. No offense. We love you, Americans. Please keep listening. But some Americans don't really know English accents so well, so they just assume that it's fake. So I'm going to talk about this in another area later down the line when we're talking about the Book of Boba and a certain hero from the original trilogy who shows up. Spoiler alert! And the effect that they used to bring him back or bring him in the show is one that, if you know it's an effect, you are obviously looking for the seams, the stitches, the magic trick. But if you don't know, you wouldn't even think. Like Rogue One, we went to see, and again, if spoiler, a Star Wars fan, obviously they brought back the character of Grand Moff Tarkin, played by the late Peter Cushing, and they did a digital kind of stuff where they digitally recreated him, and I thought it was fine. I thought it looked really good. There were some places where it was uncanny valley.
I think if you when the camera went close up to his face, I think you could tell a little bit. You could sort of tell that sort of close up, but from far away, it was fine. But it's from close. But maybe because we knew in advance we were going to do that.
The lips did make. To be honest, Jay. Be honest, and let's be honest. You didn't realise it was an effect at first.
I'm sure I knew.
No, it was only afterwards because we watched it many times. You thought, I'm
sure.
No, you didn't know. You thought it was an actor. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but let's not rewrite history.
I thought that I went in thinking that it was...
No, you didn't. No, I promise you. I had to tell you that's not real. I told you the actor's dead. So they've put an effect.
Yeah. You are right. So I thought I went in thinking that...
Yeah. And I think my point is that because you're not a hardcore fan, so you're like, whatever.
No, I'm not the expert.
So,
you're the expert, leave it.
I'm the expert.
Expert at most films.
Yeah.
Sort of films.
Excuse me. So... if you didn't know, you assumed it was an actor. It's only the majority of fans who knew that there's no way this could be the actor, that you go in with forensic goggles and you see all the flaws. So there is an argument that, again, back to the Idris Elba thing, your cognitive bias, you thought he was an American, so when he did an English accent, you thought it was rubbish.
Say what?
When actually, It's just he does a really good American accent.
Yeah, he does, actually.
And not many people know the British accent that well, because not everyone talks like the Queen.
No.
I was asked once when I was a teenager when I first went to America, I think I trip to Florida. Someone goes, "Oh, you're from England? Have you been to Buckingham Palace? Do you know the Queen?" "Yeah, we hang all the time. She comes to my place, I go to hers. We text."
God.
Of course, absolutely.
Afternoon
Yeah,
tea,
yeah.
Queen.
Yeah, you know, I live in a different palace in southeast London.
Wow.
Very grand.
Wow. I think they need to come here and
I know.
experience life.
But just to be clear,
Yeah.
we love America.
Yeah, we do.
We want a green card one day. Let's keep it. Let's keep it. Let's not offend anyone too much. Immigration. But anyway, back to Spider-Man. So we loved it. We are big MCU fans here. We are team Marvel. We eat it up for breakfast, dinner, lunch. Not every movie has landed Captain Marvel, but we really like Shang-Chi. I like Black Widow. I saw Shang-Chi first, then Black Widow on demand. And I was shocked actually, like how much I liked it. I was like, oh, I really like this movie. And Black Widow, I thought it got a bad rap, but
It's
ultimately,
a shame though, because Black Widow, at the time we live in.
yes, the times.
The times we live in at that certain time. They didn't stay in the cinema.
No, it was very short run in the cinema.
Very short. That's it. Very short.
And then what they
Shame.
did, Disney did the dirty on them. What they did is that they tested the movie by releasing it in the cinema, but also simultaneously on demand on Disney Plus. And so there was a lot of people staying home, and also not only that, it got pirated. So people, especially if you know how to hack certain places, we don't, by the way, but if you can hack. So I actually was surprised at how good a movie it was. Not perfect, and the thing is, it would have been a perfect solo movie, because I like the character Black Widow. She's awesome. If it had come out several years ago, it would have been like, people would have loved it, called it a classic if it came out earlier. But timing, like comedy, timing is key.
Yeah, because I was going to say to you, team, mate, do you think they should have sort of delayed it? Like Mission Impossible, like being delayed to 2020?
Well, think about it. If Black Widow was already a movie that was good, but out of time in terms of, it would have been really beloved if it came out several years ago. If it came out at the same time, the new Mission Impossible, it would have been like, Black who? Like what?
Forgotten all
Widow who? So we're in a part of London called Canary Wharf, and a couple of Saturdays ago, and off we're walking around, shopping, looking around, about to get a bite to eat, and we see Spider-Man himself.
The actual Spider-Man.
Yes, folks, the actual Spider-Man. Not quite Peter Parker, but he had a skin-tight Spider-Man spandex suit, and he looked like it wasn't the first time he's dressed up in it either.
Wow.
So, you know, Spider-Man, walking around Canary Wharf. So this, gotta get the light there. So this Spider-Man, literally, it was a guy. It was the Asian Spider-Man, like it might have been Indian or Pakistani or Sri Lanka, whatever. Asian guy. I knew that because his mask was off. Which, number one thing, if your job, day job, night job, is to be a vigilante, a superhero fighting crime, never show your face.
Why?
Especially during this interesting time we're in, wear a mask.
Definitely.
Spider-Man, you're setting a bad example. Always wear a mask.
Maybe it was in his rucksack. I'm sure he had a rucksack, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it was in there tucked away.
Maybe. So number one, wear a mask, Spidey. If we have to, you have to. Number two, it's sort of counterproductive to be fighting crime and walking around with your face showing. But anyway, I thought, hey, he's one of my people. I'm a geek. I'm a bit of a fanboy. Let me go and engage and have a conversation. So I went up to him and was like, all right, mate, killer Spider-Man suit, man. Like, killer Spider-Man suit, dude. You the man. Yeah. And proper, like, I think I made his day, didn't I? I was like, he's perked up. I was like, ooh, like Grogu. I'm appreciated for my efforts. So I said, you've got a great suit, man. No, I meant it. He looked cool. He looked really good. He was all fitted and stuff like that. This one couldn't keep her eyes. She kept on like looking up and down. I was like, hang on, missus. hang on, you might be Spider-Man, but ain't that amazing or spectacular? And also, eyes on me, eyes above, eyes up this level.
What are you trying to say?
Anyway, he's like looking because you're saying, oh yeah, he's Spider-Man.
But the thing is, his outfit was fitted anyway, so anyone could be.
Yeah, it was the first piece. Oh, his outfit's very fitted. It's like, how would you know? Where were you looking?
God. Oh my gosh!
This guy. Where were you looking?
This guy.
Where were you looking? Your eyes at me. What? Goodness me.
Well, anyway.
But anyway, I said, mate, Spider-Man, amazing, isn't it? No Way Home. Great movie. He's like, I haven't seen it yet. What?
How can you not see it yet?
So you're dressed in a affluent, business district, Canary Wharf, and the shopping mall, which is upmarket, clothes shops and restaurants, coffee shops, stuff like that. You're walking around in a clingy, form-fitted Spider-Man suit and a rucksack, like you've just clocked off from fighting Dr. Octopus or the Green Goblin. And you're walking, as you do, and you're walking around, and when you're asked, have you seen the latest Spider-Man movie? Your answer is no.
We just couldn't believe it.
Say what?
When he said no, he hasn't watched it. He's crazy.
Yeah, I think you need to look at the camera and make that face like.
Are you like crazy?
Like,
how can you not seen it?
I mean, it's the biggest movie.
Maybe it's just for show. Maybe a real fan.
Just for kicks.
Somebody's not a sold out fan. He hasn't even watched the film.
I know what it was. He was too busy fighting crime, to go to the cinema. And maybe he forgot his mask that time and they wouldn't let him in. Oh, no. That's it. I don't care if you're the guy whose poster is on the billboard and it's all about you. Yeah. You ain't got your mask on, Spidey. You're not coming in. And that's the final word. Plus, you're a vigilante superhero, so
that is weird.
We can't let you in because you're against the law.
No, the more I think about that is really, really weird. How can you be dressed as Spider-Man and not have seen the latest Spider-Man movie?
Oh, he really lost it. He lost me.
We just get laughing, and you said something. Oh, what was the thing he said? Tell them that said to him. The last thing you said before.
Oh, we should go and see it.
You should go and see it. Make sure you don't see any
Oh yes, and make sure you don't see any spoilers or anything like that. But then I'm like,
It's too late for that.
And I'm like, how do you cosplay in a I know Spider's a huge character. He's like probably the numero or top 3 superhero comic book characters, and you ain't seen the movie. That's weird.
Very strange.
Weird. And what if he'd said something like, "What is Spider-Man?"
Maybe.
I just saw it in the shop before I wear it. This is just my Saturday night clothes.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe.
Perhaps. You can tell the way I use my walk and swing through the streets with shooting webs.
Maybe. Something that you said.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he couldn't find anything to wear.
Yeah.
That's his last resort.
His last resort. His regular clothes were in the wash. He was like, oh no, I can't find my regular civvies.
Yeah.
What have I got lying around? Okay, my Spidey suit, web shooters. Got it. Oh no, I forgot my mask. Everyone will know who I am.
You know what I mean? Or maybe the mask was in the wash or something.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he's exempt.
Maybe
he's got an exemption.
I'm sure he had the boots as well, didn't he?
Yeah, the boots. He's the full Monty. He was fully Spider-Man.
Gosh.
Didn't quite look like Peter Parker, but everything else was okay there. Anyway, that's a long divergence.
That's a real funny.
So the newest, latest MCU movie is going to be Doctor Strange. What did you think of the first Doctor Strange? You like it? Yeah, it's been a while. It came a few years ago now.
I don't even think I can remember them.
She don't remember. So he's like, Doctor Strange. Who's that? Professor. Not very usual. Trying to make something clever now. Just went.
Oh no! I literally cannot remember the first Doctor Strange.
To be honest, folks,
not the expert in here.
Jay forgets a lot of movies, so that's not an indictment on the first Doctor Strange movie. It was a lot of fun.
You know what it is? Because there's loads of MCUs doing brilliant. They're doing fantastic.
A lot of MCUs.
Marvel, sorry.
That's like an acronym, not MCUs. Oh, there's so many of those MCUs.
There's so many Marvel movies that have come out.
Yeah. A lot of movies.
Since that. So I've forgotten all about Doctor Strange.
Forget about Dre. Forget about Doc Strange. So I liked it. It was good. It was a solid origin movie which means that you got to know the character and the world and set up. And of course, it sets things up for a sequel that'll be even bigger, where it looks like this sequel is not just going to be bigger, but it's going to be mind-boggling, and not just for Doctor Strange. Again, you've seen him in many other movies, including the Avengers, the last two massive Avengers movies, and he had played a significant role. But this is the long overdue sequel, directed by Sam Raimi.
Yeah, that's actually...
Bit of a Spider-Man connection there.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi directed Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, the first three trilogy movies. Why am I talking like Stewie from Family Guy?
I have no idea.
So Sam Raimi, he directed the classic Spider-Man movies, and this was pre-MCU. So what's interesting is this is him playing in the MCU sandbox, but not directing Spider-Man, but directing Doctor Strange instead. But personally, I think this is right up his street. Oh, trying to get the light again. Oh, catching the light. It dazzles, it delights. So, we saw the trailer. It aired at the Super Bowl. We don't get the Super Bowl here in Blighty,
Such a shame,
in England.
Why can't we get the Super Bowl?
I know,
We want to be
we're
involved.
deprived. We're
just
deprived.
Like, we don't have this opportunity to watch.
We want to be an American.
And they watch,
America.
Super Bowl is where they watch a lot of the commercials, film
trailers and stuff. The big
Why
ones.
Can't give them the opportunity? Maybe we should do a protest.
Show us the Super Bowl.
Come on.
I think it's like 5 million. It's like millions per second for the commercials.
Oh, really?
So to buy ad space for the Super Bowl, folks, you need to save up those shekels.
Yeah.
I think we might be a while before we can put a promo on a Super Bowl ad. But it's millions because obviously so many eyes are glued watching the Super Bowl that it's lucrative. Wow. So Marvel got that. Disney got that money. They could just chuck it. Ho-ho! How much? I'll write a check. So they put the stuff on, and obviously Doctor Strange trailer. So we watched it on YouTube. Oh my gosh, it was pretty intense. So I'm a bit I'm not sure. I'm a bit confused. But I know what you think, Jay. I'm a bit conflicted because I love Marvel. I used to be a comic collector. My jam was the X-Men. Can't wait for them to join the MCU on screen. And I was familiar with the wider pantheon of characters in the Marvel universe, in the comics. So I was aware, I knew about Doctor Strange and all that kind of stuff. So, and I've really enjoyed myself with the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, thus far, including the original Doctor Strange. Where I'm a little bit torn is this movie, whilst looks epic and mega and special effects and stuff, but that's it. It looks very dark, a little bit demonic. So, and to me, the magic, I mean, you could disagree. I mean, you know, the magic side of the Marvel comics, which now we're going to start seeing on the screen, was never really my wheelhouse.
Well, it kind of looks interesting. I'm quite intrigued with that.
The multiverse, well, I think what I love about the multiverse is the opportunities it has to bring in different iterations of characters. And you can retcon some stuff, you can bring in some new energy, some new things. But the big issue, the big opportunity rather, is like, and I won't spoil a recent big epic movie, but you can bring characters from other franchises that were Marvel comics but were owned by different studios, say like Fox owning, say, Daredevil and the X-Men back in the day, Sony owning Spider-Man, and then they sort of became joint custodians of Spider-Man. You can stay with me in the week, you can stay with Sony in the week, but you can go to Marvel at the weekends, that kind of thing. There was a joint collaborative effort, like co-parenting, and it worked out. Well, Disney now bought Fox, 20th Century Fox, so they don't need to complain. They don't need to do the whole, can we have joint custody thing? All they'll do is just say, right, we're bringing you out on our timeline. We own your rights. Everything's happy days. So the fans can rejoice because they've got one combined universe with all these characters. Problem is, there wasn't mention of X-Men in, like, where were the X-Men during the Battle of New York in Avengers? You know, where were they just sitting, chilling? I mean, we've sort of had that with the Eternals. Like, where were you, Eternals, when Thanos was doing his thing, attacking the universe? Well, we were told not to do anything. I know, spoiler there, oops. But, you know, and it was like, really? So they can only do that so much. So they can't say they were here all along, the X-Men. They just decided to sit and watch Netflix instead.
It'd be quite interesting. Obviously, you don't see everything in the Doctor Strange one, but it'd be interesting to see what other characters. There's going to be many more because we saw one, didn't we?
Oh no! Don't spoil that.
I don't want to give it away.
I don't give it away. Or the back of one's head.
Yes.
One's bald, shiny head.
Mention it in case people haven't seen. Yeah.
So what did you think? What did you think of it, Joe?
The trailer was Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange. As I said to you before, the whole multiverse is quite.
Dr. Jones.
The whole multiverse I found quite curious. Yeah, I've got a curious. Also to see what other characters. Because one recent film we watched, I don't want to give it away. They did that, but it's like
you're full of spoilers today.
I know. Sorry. Just to see what other characters they're going to bring.
Hey.
It'd be quite cool to have X-Men and.
Yeah. So it could do, and hopefully we will see. Just get Wolverine with his claws.
Yeah.
Hey, bub.
Yeah, but they won't definitely.
Hugh Jackman.
No,
why not?
Isn't he finished?
You said so, but he could do a cameo. He could come back for a cameo.
Oh.
What do you think, guys? Do you think Hugh Jackman will come back for a little bit of money?
He might be sick of getting Wolverine now.
Get a chance to make a buck. You know? Oh, you're twisting my arm paying me to spend one day as a cameo.
He has to do his gym work. He has to build up because he's quite
slim. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that's quite strenuous on him, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a lot of working out for like a few seconds of screen time.
He looks totally different.
When he's not Wolverining.
Yeah, when he's not Wolverine.
Yeah. Different. When he's not going around Wolverining.
Like, you know what? I can't be bothered to do this anymore. I'm finished. I'm finished.
I am done. I am not doing it again. I am done. He gets a Lagos accent. I am done. All or nothing. I don't tire. So that was Doctor Strange. Our views in the trailer. Did you see the trailer? What did you think? Does it look like the next epic Marvel masterpiece? Or does it look a little bit trippy and a bit weird? Also, if you are someone who, like us, who is people of faith, did you find some of the imagery maybe a little bit questionable? Or you're wondering, is this going to be really dark and a little bit on the too much on the dark side? Did you see the book of Boba? I ain't got the new figure. This is his old classic 1980 Empire Strikes Back and 83 Jedi outfit. So cool. You know, I ain't buying that. I wonder if there is a toy with his new outfit, his new digs.
I don't know. To Google it.
Because of course, there wouldn't be a reason to make another figure with a new outfit and sell more toys, would there? Shoot that to camera. Wrong side. But the book of Boba Fett, did you see it? I mean, was it more of a book or was it more of a short story? Because some people were like, Boba's hardly in his own show.
No, he was. In his own show. In his own show, sorry.
Yeah. On it, in it.
It's only that one episode.
No. Yeah, it was only one that he wasn't in it at all.
Yeah, he wasn't. I was thinking, where
was
he?
By the way, guys, spoilers. So, in fact, let's maybe rein in the spoilers. We don't want people to tune out.
Should have seen it by now.
Well, not everyone. Remember, Spider-Man didn't see his own film, and he's a headliner, so that kind of.
Oh no, that don't count. You know, just weird.
I mean, Spidey, go and see your film. On the job. Crime will wait another day.
I think about it's weird.
It is.
It's weirder and weirder.
Weirder and weirder.
Weirder and weirder and weirder.
Weirder and weirder. Bitten by a Radio X spider. Too busy to go cinema. Anywho.
What did you think about
the book of Boba? I had a blast. Was it perfect? No. Was there some wonkiness in the storytelling? And I'm not talking about the flashbacks. I like the dancing with Tuskens. And, you know, I'm an O.G. Star Wars fan. But it kind of was quite clear that this was... People said it was a Mandalorian 2.5. And I agree. It seemed like it was kind of a bridge show between Mandalorian Season 2 and the forthcoming Mandalorian Season 3. And if they said that in marketing and tempered expectations, you could have got a win. But because you gave the impression that this was like a epic crime story featuring badass Boba Fett, who's known for violence, being a fighter, not a lover, you know, reverse thing there. People had big expectations. And bear in mind, this is a character that got famous for just looking cool back from 1980 or 79 or 78 from the Star Wars Christmas special, if you include that animated first appearance. So I think they dropped the ball because the expectations were high. And though I liked what we got, some episodes I liked, some I loved. They happened to be featuring another characters from the saga that, you know, that kind of overshadowed the star, to be honest. That said, I did like the journey of Boba. I cared far more for Mr. Fett, Lord Fett, than in this show than 30 plus years or 40, whatever many years of Star Wars fandom. Now, I will say this. If you go into the show expecting the epic Boba taking names and prisoners, or no names or no prisoners, shooting people up. I always get that phrase is so difficult off the top of my head. Shooting people to death with laser guns. And flying around all down his jetpack, you won't get that completely. There's very much a kind of a Western vibe and that whole rebirth of Boba. And again, what the show was successful in is it actually made me care about Boba Fett. When he fell into the Sarlacc, and I'm sure many people, the OG, my generation, they were like, oh boy, he was lame. He was cool in Empire, and he was all like this hype around him, and he got took out like a punk. Boba Fett, where? Fair enough, if his jetpack got hit and he didn't see where he was going, so it's not like it couldn't happen to the best of bounty hunters. The problem is that he never really said very much. He was hardly in it. Sorry, Boba. Cover your ears with your helmet.
What do you mean?
Feel like I'm insulting him. No, in the original trilogy, he's hardly in it. So he was talked up, and then you had a little bit of him, his dad and him as a kid in the prequels. So this season, this show was actually made a character that was all cool appearance and mystery and projection. This fans projecting their adventures onto him, projecting his coolness. They made me care about him. What do you think of Boba Fett, the character in the Book of Boba? Sit down.
I think...
Rest your jetpack. Stay.
My opinion, I'm not really the expert, you're the expert.
Yeah, but you've got an opinion, don't you? An expert on it, do you? Goodness me.
I was going to get to that. Give me a chance, mate. Give me a chance.
Oh, dear.
Give me a chance.
That we're going to say, I'm not the expert.
But,
Love and marriage.
Yeah, my opinion is of Boba Fett is that I really liked it. I don't have a lot of to Boba Fett in terms of stuff like that. But from what I saw, I thought it was really good. I thought that obviously there was one episode that he wasn't in it. I'm like, where is he? But that episode was really good.
No spoilers.
I'm not going to say who it was. I'm sure, to be honest, I've seen it by now.
Spoilers.
But you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But my opinion about Boba Fett, I thought the series was really good. I liked his character. He showed an emotional side. Quite soft, actually. He isn't usually like that, is he?
No, he's a badass.
So that's what I'm saying. But I think they wanted to, I guess Disney wanted to show that side. They wanted to show more of the softer instead of him blowing everything up.
No disintegrations.
If any of you watched the last episode, I'm sure there's more of that. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it.
You won't need to see the show after, Jolene. She'll just tell you everything about it. Blow by blow.
If it was down to me, I would share everything.
Yeah, I know.
Right. You said, hold back.
Of course. Give people a chance, precious.
When it came out last week, most people sold out fans.
Some people binge watch and watch it all in one go. So I think what I really loved about the Book of Boba Fett was the fact that it opens the doors. If they can make a cool show, mostly, certainly really cool episodes out of a character like Boba Fett, and the time period, we're talking about not long after Return of the Jedi, which for me as an OG Star Wars fan, the original trilogy, that's the sandbox that I would want to play in. And it looks like they're playing in that sandbox with the TV shows and maybe movies going forwards. I'm not a hater of the sequel trilogy, but if I'm honest, The Mandalorian and even what we've got now with Boba, I've found far more entertaining and pleasurable than those three movies.
I want to forget about those three. I want to delete it out of my...
Really?
3 movies about.
Don't hold back. Speak your mind.
Apart from the one you were in.
No. I'm saying. You have your opinion.
But it's like, I think the last Star Wars movie, I was like, yeah. But then I think we watched it again.
Yeah, watched it again.
And I was like, it was bad. It was this film.
Yeah. Suddenly.
Or maybe they should have had the same director making.
So JJ, rather than 2 out of 3, maybe if he directed all 3.
Yeah, it might have been a different movie. Or now that we've seen the
Jon Favreau would have
Dave
crushed
Filoni.
it.
They would have crushed it.
Filoni and Favreau.
Oh my gosh.
I really do believe
if those two did it, that worked on that project.
Or at least have the directors talk. I mean, Ryan Johnson's a good director. I liked Was it not? Was it not Sleep? What was that film called? Sleep? No, Looper.
Oh, Looper, yeah.
Looper. Ooh, Looper. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
That made me really excited for his Star Wars movie. If JJ, Ryan Johnson and JJ again had a conversation, had a word, consulted beforehand, and not something like beginning, middle and end,
so. I'm thinking,
rather than random, do your own thing.
Did they not have a conversation?
Clearly not.
Because it was almost like, as an audience, you're expecting the story to go a certain way, but then it doesn't, and it's like, it doesn't make sense.
No.
It literally didn't make sense. Like,
yeah.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. It's like...
What's going on? Do you know what I mean? It's like, how can you have 3 films and they're so different?
Yeah. They're like
no growth of character.
Yeah.
Thinking the character's going to do that, and they don't.
Very little sinew and tissue binding it all together. It was very, very loosey-goosey. But the great thing about playing in these sandboxes is the technology is there. And with now TV, or Disney money TV, looks as good as movies. You see it with the MCU. You see it with Star Wars. So you can have epic, long-form storytelling with big budget movie, cinema experience, effects and cast, and rather than sort of like TV that looks tacky and cheap and low budget. And the thing is, both Marvel as comics, the source material, and Star Wars, when George Lucas had created it as like a old sort of 1930s serials, they both are tune in to the next chapter, to the next adventure. They're very much long form storytelling by nature, but because of the technology of like the 70s and late 70s, early 80s, George Lucas couldn't make many more of those movies because, I mean, the first one almost broke him. I think the second one, he stepped back from directing, became a strong producer. And in Jedi, it's mixed, you know, whether he directed how much of it with him, Richard Marquand. Point being, the technology and the money wasn't there to keep on cranking out these stories. And forget Marvel, they couldn't even tackle that until like properly the year 2000 with the first X-Men movie. You know, people mention Blade as the first Marvel, but to be honest, Blade is like the Matrix. It's X-Men had all like the laser beams and claws and sort of special effects superhero stuff. So that took the early 2000s for the technology to catch up.
I think they should have, some other writers on free Star Wars movie. They should.
Wow.
I'm sure you said one time that they offered to be a part of it or something. Said, no, we don't.
George, well, we can go into this. This is a whole epic story. Are you ready, folks, for a long epic story that we'll have to do another time because I'm realising we'll go way over time our show. The short answer to it is George said, hey, man, I've got these kids. Can you look after them for me? You be custody of my babies. Sure, we can. Sign the contract. Whoop! Yeet the babies, the scripts, and say, we're going to do it ourselves and we're going to do our own story. And no, thank you, the maker. Thank the maker.
Listen,
don't thank the maker. So he had an idea, he had a plan, but can you imagine the living geniuses around? It's like Tolkien still being around and saying, let's make new Lord of the Rings movies. Don't tell Tolkien. Don't ask Tolkien to have any input.
Like
we can do a better job ourselves.
If it wasn't for George Lucas, there would have been no Star Wars movies.
None.
So to treat the man like that is really bad.
Yeah.
Really cold. At least let him have some say. At least him written rights or do something.
Yeah.
Or bring on his old,
Yeah. I mean, there was the scripts were there, the outlines were there, folks. They could have asked him. It's just a phone call. Call me. So I'm excited about. You've got the Obi-Wan Kenobi show coming in May. May the 4th. Well, May the 25th it comes out, not the 4th. They missed a trick there.
Yeah, they should have got
You've got the Marvel movies, Doctor Strange and Thor coming. You've got Mandalorian season 3 at the end of the year. So it's a great time, whether it's in the multiplex, the cinema, or at home with your popcorn and your Ben and Jerry's or any other ice cream. We're not sponsored. It's so exciting to be a fan right now. Hercules.
Spoiled, though, aren't we? We're so spoiled.
We are spoiled for choice.
You don't even need to. You don't even need films anymore. You just don't movies. You don't need any more Star Wars movies. The series are brilliant. I prefer the series.
I still want to go to the cinema. Like, I still want to go and see a big, massive screen.
I don't want to see any more Star Wars movies, though.
Why not? Boo.
I don't, because the last ones are rubbish.
Oh,
Apart from the one you were in. because that was the first one. But then the last two was like,
yeah. When she says I was in, let me explain. I am an actor, but I didn't have a speaking part in Star Wars, but I was an extra. Oh yes, I was a resistance trooper. I should have got my toy out in The Force Awakens. So I got to hang out with Han Solo himself, Harrison Ford, Chewbacca, Carrie Fisher, Anthony Daniels, C-3PO. When I say hang out, I was on set with them and they said hello as I passed them. But to me, not worthy. We're not worthy. As a lifelong OG fan, I was like, oh. I can die a happy man someday when I'm old in my bed. So anyway, that's the things we have to look forward to. Lots to look forward to.
Bring more of the shows, definitely.
But that leaves us to something that I am very much looking forward to. Yeah. And that is the next topic that we're going to talk about right now. Did you see the Janet Jackson documentary? Ooh, child. Spill the tea, spill the grape juice.
That was a hot 4 hours.
That was one hot 4 hours. Could have been a Joe Rogan episode. Yeah. It was that long. In fact, that would have been interesting. Joe Rogan talking to Janet Jackson. Yeah. I think I said up top, we are a Jackson fan household. A huge fan of the Jacksons, the Jackson 5, any Jackson member, anything with Jackson last name. So even Samuel Jackson. If it's Jackson, I'm into it. But, of course, Michael, rest in peace. I'm speechless how amazing he was as an artist. And of course, I don't believe any of that crap about allegations, stuff like that. Maybe you do, that's your prerogative, but I don't, and I'm not going to be convinced otherwise. But anywho, we don't want to go down that path. But the unfortunate thing about all of that mess is if you got the last name Jackson, there's often a target on your head. And it don't matter how big you are, as big as Michael or as big as Janet, there are people going out to get you. And it makes you want to scream.
Yep.
Scream! Ah! Ah! Did you see what I did there?
Yeah.
Yeah, scream.
Such confusion, what the make you want the team? The bat the booting,
It makes you want to scream, folks. Yeah, not bad. I was feeling it. I was channeling. Shimon! Shimon! It makes you want to scream, and I think it was a very interesting unveiling behind the curtain.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in there, that documentary I didn't know about, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was very eye-opening.
Yeah. Just when you think that just when you think you know everything there is to know, especially as like a fan like, ourselves, about the Jacksons, there was nuggets that were coming out left, right and centre, wasn't there? There was stuff that I was like, I didn't know that. Like, I knew she was married to Renee.
Oh, I didn't.
And that was, it was a secret. It was always like something that was in the gossip that she was secretly married and stuff like that. I mean, it only really was confirmed after they got divorced. But there was stuff like that I knew about her being with the guy from DeBarge, and the rumours saying, she's got a child that she gave to her sister Rebe to raise. And stuff like that.
Where did that come from then, that story, in terms of having an elder child that she just rejected and just...
Who knows?
Mother. That doesn't sound like them. Even though I don't know Janet Jackson, I don't think she would. I remember hearing that story.
Well, one thing about the Jacksons, if you are a Jackson of the Jackson family, there's going to be tabloid stories about you. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, they won't be true. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because it sells papers, So, what are your thoughts of the documentary in general on the whole?
Yeah, I think my thoughts on the documentary was like I was able to find out new information. I was like, I think for me, the whole documentary was just about legacies. And she also, her father, Joseph, he pushed her, and she was so determined. Flows, ups and downs and everything. Divorce, the issue at the Super Bowl, all that stuff. And it literally almost ruined her career, but it's like...
They saw more than a trailer at that Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they blacklisted her for a long time after that. Like, she wasn't able to go to, I can't remember what award show was it?
The Grammys.
Justin Timberlake good.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Justin got off the hook.
How is it her fault? It's an accident.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because Justin got all of the Neptunes, produced a ton of songs for Michael for his Invincible album. And he didn't want them, so Justin inherited all those songs. Like, don't be so quick to walk away.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be Michael's
I just want to love you, baby.
Now I can't imagine him singing those.
Yeah. So, and then obviously he got to do a song at the Super Bowl with Janet Jackson, another big, blessing that came from the Jackson family. And then that happened, and he was like nowhere to be seen. Yeah. I mean, she did give him lots of grace on the documentary. She's very gracious, wasn't she?
Apparently, she says they're still friends.
Yeah.
I know, but it's not like she's fallen in. Because if it was other people, women, they might have been like, it's all your fault and all that. And you've made me blacklisted. Because literally, radio stations won't play her music.
Yeah.
For a long time after that. She's literally blacklisted.
But I tell you,
invited to
who weren't too happy with Justin. Black Twitter.
Went in hard.
They dragged that boy. He got dragged.
Oh, yeah, of course. Black Twitter.
He got dragged in Black Twitter.
Black Twitter don't mess about.
Don't mess with Black Twitter, folks.
Got down with that.
It ain't good for you. It ain't good for you. Don't go there. Black Twitter. Hey, who?
Black Twitter, man. You can't get away from Black Twitter.
Yeah. They dragged Justin. It was like epic draggage. It was like, yeah. And I mean, and it's years later, and still they were coming for him. Janet's like saying, please forgive him. He's my friend. It's all forgiven. Water under the bridge.
She's just so forgiving, but not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
Give her a break. And at the end of the day, it was an accident. But I guess it's like, how many people were at the Super Bowl when that happened? But
anyway, that was probably the biggest thing that happened at that time. It was the Super Bowl. Well, not that time, because over decades, but one of the big things that will always come up with Janet Jackson is that notorious Super Bowl costume malfunction. But to be honest, that was the least interesting thing for me. The most interesting thing for me was her talking about her brothers and her father Joseph, and the fact that, like, I knew he managed a career, he managed all of their careers, and they all could have sort of let him go at some point. But what really moved me was at towards the latter part of the documentary. Again, we're going to try not to spoil anything, but she's so ruthless, she's cold. People have lives. They get round to watching things eventually.
You can't watch it in the moment. You can't wait for like a week and go.
Yeah.
Never watches it.
He's going to, maybe he's watching the Janet Jackson documentary first. He's watching the Jan documentary, then Boba Fett, then he'll watch Spider-Man No Way Home. Anywho, so I think dads get a bad rap. I think Joseph Jackson has always gotten a bad rap. Listen, he was a African-American, a black father, raising 9 children in the 60s. Most people would run away from one child at that time, let alone, especially in that underprivileged circumstances, like in Gary, Indiana, let alone staying by his wife and 9 children. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. He stuck by his children. He may have not been the touchy-feely type, but from what I read about sort of stuff of the patriarch of the Jackson family, he lost his parents. He had many siblings. He was the eldest, and they lost their children. They lost their parents when they were young. So he stepped in as the sort of father figure of his siblings, the head of the family. So he's somebody who's had to toughen up at a very young age. I'm not his apologist. I never knew the man. I don't know the man. He's late. He's passed, and I never knew him. But I respect the man. I see what he did with 9 kids, and we've met the Jacksons on a couple of occasions. The original Jackson 5 minus Michael, rest in peace. And they accomplished so much as an African-American family coming out of a deprived area, Gary, Indiana, 9 kids becoming global superstars, having their own cartoon as children. People in Japan would know who the Jacksons are. There was Beatlemania, the same way that people would run after the Beatles and scream and crazy. That was like that to the Jackson 5 when they came out. And none of it would have been possible without the one man, Joseph Jackson. Catherine as well, huge part. But I think she would have been happy just having her kids together and at home.
She was a good support, wasn't she? They did when they. I remember watching was it the show or something?
Which one was that?
Jackson.
What type of show was it? Oh yeah.
Remember when it showed how
the American Dream.
Even the sisters wanted to go out and be with the brothers, but they had to stay at home.
Yeah.
With Catherine, and they were the one who wrote.
Yeah.
So it was like that. Joseph did a.
Yeah.
And also not.
Some people would want that switch, getting a slap on their bottom, on their buttocks. if it means that they become global superstars. Just saying. Some people got licks and hit by a belt and got nothing out of it. There was no global superstardom and everyone knowing who you are and being a multimillionaire out of that. Just a sore bum, I tell you.
It's not just that.
Preach
it's just
over.
The way he just pushed them, didn't he? And I think that's what stood out for me with Janet Jackson. I think that's something that stood out for me with Janet Jackson. The drive, she fell down, but she got up again. She felt all that she's been through. Some people would have just quit and give depression, went for anxiety and everything, and she still paved the way for so many other
So are you
artists.
saying they would have stopped before they got enough? In fact, I think I have just the trick for that. I think I have a sound for that. There's an app for that.
Oh, go for it.
Hang on.
Let's see if we can.
Way! The laughter! They got it. They got my joke. Hey? All right, too much laughter now. You're milking it. You're over-egging it. Yeah. So, and it really touched my heart when I saw, do you remember the bit where Janet, it's more to like a more recent concert and Joseph is there?
Oh, yeah.
And Randy, you see him hug him.
Yeah.
And then she's talking about how much she appreciates him in later years. Yeah. And then they catch up with her after he's died. And she was saying she was so grateful that she got to tell him how much she loved him and appreciated him. And she had understanding of him, which she never used to have when she was a lot younger. What do you think about that? Especially the whole father-daughter thing.
Yeah, I think it just showed how close they were, even though all the that's each to their own, but they all called him Joseph. Yeah, that was emotional. That just showed how she is that father and daughter. Yeah, I think because I would feel like if my dad had pushed me in that situation and you become a global superstar.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Listen, to put things in perspective, our eldest daughter Tia watched it with us, and she was like, "Oh, Dad, I wish you were strict like Joseph Jackson." I wish you could have pushed us something. I was like, you're laughing. Like, you keep on saying how strict I am and all that. And I'm like, and you want me to be more strict like that? And I think what's interesting is a bit like...
She's actually called the Queen of Pop, which I didn't even know.
No, they call Madonna the Queen of Pop.
But after she kind
it's
of...
controversial.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, you're either sometimes... You're like the Beehive. Yeah. People will kill you for saying that, especially Beyonce fans of Beehive. But some will say Madonna is the Queen, and some will say... Beyonce is, some Janet Jackson. It's a much contested crown, that is. Far more that I don't think anyone's really ever been called King of Pop post Michael.
No. Oh, no. Can you think of
So,
anyone
no.
King of Pop?
Or give it a rest. But yeah, I mean, I remember as well, you had the movie King Richard came out, which is all about the Venus and Serena, the Williams sisters, the tennis international superstars. And a bit like Joe Jackson, they had their dad, Richard, who... had a blueprint, a vision from when they were very tiny of how they would be like the greatest tennis players ever. And somehow with that vision, see folks, write the vision, make it plain.
Right.
Have a goal, have a blueprint and try your best to stick to it. And particularly, hey, they may have said, I don't want to do tennis, I want to go and do gymnastics. You're doing tennis. And I think kids are going to get to that point where they might not want to do things, but they're so glad that they did the thing their dad wanted to do, both the Williams sisters and I'm sure the Jacksons, as evidenced by Janet in the documentary. So, I mean, ultimately, your childhood goes quite quickly. You're an adult for the rest of your life. And you can be either set up and established or you had a great childhood, but my adulthood sucks. Fortunately for Janet, though she worked a lot in her childhood because she had to join the family act she was born into. Look at some of the old footage of her and Randy on stage in Vegas doing their kind of Sonny and Cher bit. It's quite funny.
They must be so proud though, because she's the youngest sibling. I think they look at her and say,
Baby Jackson.
You're the baby of the... And Catherine just... What an amazing legacy. In her 50s now. She's done so much.
I mean, she was a huge superstar. I mean, our children watched it and they didn't realise how huge Janet Jackson was in the sort of late 80s and early 90s, that she was... At one point, she was giving Michael a run for his money. And speaking of which, it was lovely seeing the home footage. What do you think about that when you saw Michael and Janet preparing...
When they were writing the lyrics for Scream, it was just nice to see them together and they were just singing a lot and practicing. And then there was another scene with them doing the... with them for the instruments and stuff.
I like when he was writing said a swear, we go, don't tell mother. Don't tell mother.
Isn't it? Like a child.
Yeah.
That was really touching.
Yeah, because they were super close.
Yeah,
I mean,
they were, weren't they?
if like some of the Jacksons, like history, like there were times in the late 70s where Michael was shy and he'd bring Janet along to interviews and she would speak for him. So the person would have to ask Michael the question, but Janet would whisper and repeat what the interviewer said to Michael, and Michael would whisper the answer and she'd say it. It's bonkers, but I think there's not only a bond, but this whole thing of being maybe mistrusting the media, which obviously with good cause, because they literally messed him up. Yeah, I said it. The media have a lot of blood on their hands for Mr. Jackson, but I won't go there. It's another story. Yeah, remember what they did to Janet? Like because of the allegations against Michael with the 94 allegations, she was about to become signed by Coca-Cola for a massive ad campaign, like to rival Michael's Pepsi.
They literally dropped her, didn't they, because of the association?
Yeah.
You know, with her brother.
Yeah.
That was a massive deal as well.
That would make me want to scream.
Yeah.
Cutting my livelihood on pony allegations, or even if whatever the allegations were, whatever your thoughts on that. That's my brother, but that's not me.
Exactly.
Why should I?
Yeah, why should something like that affect you? Because obviously it's association, but you're not that person.
Yeah.
Even though you're related to him, it's just not you.
I'd be like, my name's Janet,
Exactly.
not Michael.
Exactly.
You know, my name's Janet, not Michael. Can you maybe not take away my multi-million-dollar Coca-Cola contract, please?
Michael. And they washed their hands off Janet as well.
Yeah, it's just nuts,
Washed hands
really.
off you?
Yeah,
Nothing
just
to do with you.
nothing to do, and it was so brutal.
Yeah.
So you had that in 1994, and then in the next decade, in the 2000s, the Super Bowl thing where they tried to cancel her. But you try and keep a Jackson down, and they just get back up because their talent and their strong work ethic, instilled by Papa Joe.
Exactly.
We must say, give him a tip to the hat.
Props.
You know, we salute you, sir.
She was working day and night, I'm sure, from when they were small. I'm not going to sing the song.
Was that was deliberate, wasn't it? I see what you did there. You're learning, kid. Stick with me, I'll make you a star. Look at that creeping in the song references there. Hey, you know. Getting the references. Anyway, your point. Sorry.
I can't remember my point now. No, I was going to say, he let them work day and night, and that's why all got the strong work ethic they have because of what Joseph instilled in them. Yeah. Teach children how when they grow up, it stays.
Listen, black fathers sometimes get a lot of flack in, the indigenous Western societies they're in, like America or the UK. When I mean indigenous, mainly white folk, will talk negative about the black community and will say such horrible things and such negative, uncharitable things, particularly when it comes to the role of the father. Yeah. What I don't get is how all of the Jackson children will speak glowing, lovingly about their father, especially years after Perspective Michael. Even Michael came round saying, you know what? My dad wasn't the touchy-feely, lovey-dovey dad that I would have wanted, and he would have been right to have wanted that. Yeah. But I see where we came from and what the other side of the track could have been. And I'm so glad we were on that train, because that other train, especially with all those brothers of that and in those gang areas, it would have been good.
They would have all gone wayward.
Yeah. Gary, Indiana.
We wouldn't have known about our Jacksons.
No. But little Janet, who would have thought that the youngest, the baby Jackson, would have become one of the biggest, brightest stars, not only of the family, but of the whole entertainment business, one of the best that ever did it. What were some of the things that really pulled at you about Janet watching it, besides that amazing smile that she has and great aura? Wow, actually, before you answer that, we're Londoners. Yeah. Janet and Randy live in London.
I know. I'll find out whereabouts.
Pop round.
Where do you live? If you see this video, you listen to this podcast.
Pop round. Janet, Randy.
Where are you at?
Come round for dinner. We'll look after you. We're neighbours, Well, maybe, probably the different side of the tracks. Yeah. We're probably in the Gary, Indiana part of London compared to their Hollywood part of London. But, I
thought you got connections though.
Well, keep that scum.
Yeah.
Collie.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, say no more. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Don't give the games away.
No.
But yeah, so we are, who knew Janet and Randy Jackson of the Jackson family live in our neck of the woods. So if you want to go grab a coffee or something, who knows? You just go autograph hunting.
Yeah, you never know.
Oh dear. But anyway.
Yeah, there was that question.
What was the question?
What was the question?
It was yes, your overall impact for you.
Yeah, I think my overall impact of the documentary was, I think, work ethic. Work ethic, being a strong woman, especially a black woman, and also obviously from all the things she went through, she just rose up above that all the things she went through, keep her down, just came back up again.
Chumbawamba.
It's to do with that work ethic.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
She didn't have that work ethic. She would have been like, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm done with this.
And
she's been in the industry for like, 40 years?
Well, she's had loads of careers, because remember, she started off as an actress. Penny in Good Times, She was in Different Strokes as Willis's girlfriend, but before then she was in Fame. Yeah. Then she had a bit of a break from acting and then came back in movies like you just said
Poetic Justice, which I haven't seen. You haven't seen it?
Bits and pieces. Of course, the best movie was The Clumps, Nutty Professor 2. Sherman, Hercules.
She was really good in Why'd I Get Married? As the
Tyler Perry movies, yeah. You've made it when you're in a Tyler Perry movie.
She was really good in that. Really good character.
Where she smashed everything up.
I think before I saw her in that, I didn't even know she could. I didn't know she was in that before I saw her in the time.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Remember when I said I was a really big Jacksons fan? Jay just comes along for the ride.
Oh.
What, she acted?
Yeah, but she's really good.
Didn't you see The Nutty Professor 2? That happens a lot, folks. Bear with Jay. She needs an early night.
It's almost like an unforgettable. Not in a bad way. I forgot she came in that film.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Nothing to say with her acting. Her acting was great in it. Just Jay's got a bit of a Swiss cheese memory, that's all. Maybe you find Canary Wolf Spider-Man, I would say go to Blockbusters, bring him, pop on a Netflix movie and do some catch-up, some of the old movies.
It will be on Netflix before you know it by the time
I was going to say. Oh, he's so skin-tighted, so clingy. How do you know? Stop looking, woman. I'm jealous of a superhero.
Oh, my God.
Roaming the streets. Inadequate much. Does whatever a spider can. Anyway, let's keep it.
Swiftly moving on.
PG-13. Anywho. It's you put it in my mind. It's my mind. Spun a web. Back to Janet Jackson. In conclusion, there was information that was new, isn't it? There was some new nuggets, again, even for an old-time Jackson fan like some of us.
Yeah. I thought you knew everything.
Now you're being facetious. So for me, it was the family stuff and her career highlights. Some of the things that, her working with Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam, the legends, the super uber producers that don't get enough credit as they should, and her almost being dropped by a record label and coming back with Control, doing it her way and just rewriting the game and restarting her career.
She's got Control now. She's got a record label.
Yeah.
And apparently she's the first, I think at the time she was the first black woman to have her own record label.
Yeah. And it was history repeating itself with the whole Control album thing, because don't ever count the Jacksons out. The Jacksons 5 were huge. Then they got a bit, I never thought they ever got bad, but Motown were neglecting them, and they started to age out and not be like the cute kid group they started off with, even though their music was far superior than just a kid group. So they left Motown and went joint CBS, and the first few albums weren't saying very much with CBS Records. And then they came back with Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. That was, Shake Your Body Down to the Ground.
Okay, that's it. No.
I can only sing one line of a song for royalty for
Yeah, you get so much trouble.
I don't know what's gonna happen to you, baby. You do something, won't you? Anyway, I can't help it.
You might get a record contract.
You know what I mean?
Singing.
Call me Tony Jackson. But I love that. I love Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. 1978 smash hit that really relaunched them as the Jacksons. It's like their huge hit. Even though they had a few albums before the Jacksons, Shake Your Body it put them back at the top of the charts. Then you had tracks like Can You Feel It, my personal favourite. And then they had their epic, massive concert in 1984 that had its controversy, but was huge. So Janet had a bit of a middling, not too great start in her music career. Didn't even want to sing. She wanted to just act. But Joseph was like, no, you're going to sing. And then when albums flopped, but when she brought out Control, it was the game changer. And you see it, history of the Jacksons, if you discount them, they come back stronger. And I do believe that was the work ethic instilled in them from childhood by both parents, but particularly Joe. So if that being for Papa, Joe, I'd love to meet Janet. I think she's such an inspiration, and elegance, grace, obviously some saucy stuff in some of her back catalogue, which we were doing church then. So Velvet Rope, anyone? Not sure about the Velvet Rope. A little bit too spicy, smoking for this church boy and you in the church. Yeah.
Give that one a miss.
Say no more. But other than that, I think Janet Jackson should go down as a legend. The documentary didn't say everything. No. Obviously, she did keep back some stuff.
It did mention the child's father.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I mean, maybe that's complicated, like a Facebook update status. I mean, some people wanted more grit, more controversy, more talking. And I'm glad it didn't go there, to be honest, because I think
balanced. I think the way it went down wasn't.
Yeah. You have an opportunity to talk to one of the greatest artists and superstars that ever did it. I always didn't get that when I've done junkets and stuff, and I've had stars be grateful when I've asked them a question that actually is about their craft. Because you interview someone who's a big name, who's good for something, not someone who was in a celebrity Big Brother or fell out of a reality TV show, but someone who actually is a master of their craft. And you want to ask them about who they went out with, where did they go last night, tabloid stuff, or who were they married to, who did they divorce, and it's like,
just stick to the person's. Who cares about their personal life? I want to know about their stuff they're doing, their projects.
Yeah.
Who wants to know about that stuff?
Yeah. Nosy people. That's who. Nosy neighbours. Gossip columnists, the tabloid junkies. So that was the Janet Jackson documentary. I could have watched 4 more hours. I think Janet is great. It skimmed the surface. Some people wanted to go a bit more controversial, a bit more hardcore. I was pretty happy where it went. I was more interested actually in the 70s and the 80s stuff really than the more modern stuff, because to me that's the golden era of a lot of that sort of Black American culture, pop culture, particularly the Jacksons. The 70s and the 80s was a very fertile, creative, and it was at their peak. And seeing young Janet, she was so cute and enigmatic. I mean, she still was amazing now, but I'm just saying that early period was really great, seeing the family blossom. And who would have known that little Janet would have been one of the biggest, now I'd say the biggest member of the family post Michael, and at one point, like I said, even rivaled her big brother, though Michael's Michael, say no more.
He was successful in his own right.
Exactly. Say no more. Doesn't need to be said. We'd just be saying obvious things.
I was going to say that since her documentary, I think It's All For You was her, like some of her music came on the surface again. I think It's All For You. It's All For You. I think it was It's All For You. Or That's the Way Love Goes. One of those 2 songs.
Yeah. What happened?
People are listening.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that happens sometimes, doesn't it?
Ka-ching!
More money in the bank account.
More money, more money, more money. Hey, I ain't mad at ya. Hey. Money. I want to do a documentary. You'll see it though.
What would you do about?
I know. That time I married a girl called Jay.
Oh.
And we're still happily married. Yeah. Give me a finger. Yeah. Happily ever after. No divorce. 18 years. And no drama. So it'd be a pretty boring, a pretty dull as dishwater documentary, really, isn't it? No controversy, no dramas. Though I do have a book. Ooh. I do have a book. Shameless plug. I do have a book. Coconut Prince, Memoir of a Black Sheep. All about my interesting life as an adoptee, transracial adoptee, on a journey, a pilgrimage to find my birth mother and finding out I've got this legacy in Africa, and then me trying to make it as an actor and go Hollywood and all that jazz. So stick with us and you'll know how to get a copy, and that might be a documentary one day, maybe even a movie, and you can be one of the first to say you knew the story when it was just a book. And
exciting.
you used to listen to that schmuck crack wise with his missus on that podcast. Look out, Joe. We're after your podcast audience.
We're going to take over.
Take over Joe. You can't fight him, though. He'd beat the crap out of me. Look at him.
No.
Not only is he got loads of money, but he's an MMA artist, a fighter.
Take up your, martial arts skills.
Maybe you fight him.
No, I'll be on the ground.
Calling Spider-Man. Calling London Spider-Man. Probably don't know who Joe Rogan is either. Joe who? Walking around with his podcast and who is this? Anyway, we had fun, didn't we?
Yeah,
go and see the Janet Jackson documentary. It's out. It's 4 hours, but it's 4 hours well spent, especially if you're a fan of her and the amazing musical family, the Jacksons. Book of Boba is out on Disney Plus now. It's got mixed reviews, but if you're an OG, listen, let me say this to the camera because this is important. If you are an OG Boba Fett fan, we're talking A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi is your jam, and you always wanted to know what happened after Boba got out of the Sarlacc pit, then some of you will be disappointed. I won't lie. Some of you will be disappointed. However, those of you who are, I think the vast majority of you will enjoy this playing in the sandbox of a fan favourite from the late 70s, early 80s, and a Star Wars where you can actually root for the characters and old characters come back that actually show up and you like this time rather than feel a bit butthurt about. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? I had a time of my life watching the Book of Boba, and I feel like it's a time of our life to be fans. Those of us who grew up as kids in the 80s and who love the sort of fanboy stuff, we should be very happy right now because we're getting to live the dream, folks, by actually seeing a lot of our sci-fi, comic book, fantasy projects come to life in an exciting way, not just on the big screen, but big budget on the little screen, which leads into Doctor Strange 2. Again, bit mix of whether if it's a bit too hardcore for me, a little bit too horror vibes. We shall see. But one movie you can see in the MCU, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's been out for a little while now.
If that Spider-Man we saw in Canary
It's going to be a little bit of time now. Been out for a while now. Just saying. Been out for a little while. Maybe mosey on down to the multiplex before it leaves. But don't pirate, though. No to pirate. No Long John Silver. No to piracy. No.
I'm so convinced. I'm so convinced that guy.
What are you so convinced, Jolene?
That he's not really a Spider-Man.
I thought you were going to say, I'm so convinced he's not really Spider-Man. I had a feeling that's not Peter Parker. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but he's not really Spider-Man. I just have a hunch. Yeah, a big hunch. Checking him out.
So go and watch it. Go watch that movie.
Anyway, enough public announcements. Thank you for joining the show. We are T&J on our bid to take over the world, one podcast at a time. Won't you join us? Won't you be part of our new nation in our takeover bid, where we will give you the very best opinions on reviews, may it be movies, music, TV, anything that's zeitgeist, anything that's popping right now up in entertainment and culture, or even maybe dabbing a little bit of politics and stuff that's going on in the world. Who knows? Either way, we're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it lively. We're going to keep it fun. No heaviness here. And if it is a little bit heavy, we'll put a little bit of shade on it. How about that? And we promise when we take over the world, we will give you, you will be part of an army of listeners that will have a lot of fun as we go on this ride together. One way you can stay on the ride is not only is this an audio podcast that you're listening to right now, a pretty long one, might have to get the scissors out, but if you want to see the handsome and beautiful face that comes with this dulcet toned voices, you can find us on YouTube, T&J Take Over the World. And our handles will be on there too, so you can keep in touch. Let us know what you think of the show and anything you might want to hear on our takeover bid. Again, one episode at a time. This episode is done, so we're much closer to domination. Look out, Spotify and big heavy hitters. which we won't say a name, but we're coming after your crown. Be scared, be frightened. Don't beat me up, please. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Take care, guys, and we will see you next time on T&J.
Take over the world.
See ya.
See ya.
Boom.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, please subscribe below, where also we have more videos on entertainment, opinion, and chat. You're really going to enjoy it. Also, if you really enjoy it that much, we have a weekly podcast on all platforms. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.